All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Part 3, the final part of Ask the King, episode 86. It's either 86 or 87. I think it's 86. For May 27th, 2021. Thanks to everyone who has chilled with me so far here live on the stream. And, of course, if you're watching along on YouTube, there's already 2 parts that should be live, so you should watch those parts first. But it's time for the grand finale, the final questions. Hope you guys are ready. Okay. So, we start off with Davey Gameray, and he says, "Hi Phil, greetings from Northern Ireland in the UK. I'm a longtime viewer and always loving your content. Gaming actually has helped me overcome a serious bout of my depression last year. My question is, what would you say to those who say gaming is a bad or negative influence? I would say it can be, but much like anything, gaming can be a different experience and a different situation for anyone. By the way, shout out to Team Ico Gamer who just did a super chat. And he says, why not do last super chat instead of top SC? I don't know what you mean by top SC. There's no SC. There's last tip, top tip's goal. The reason I haven't done anything with super chats yet is 2 reasons. Number 1, because I really need tips right now. That's the focus. And number 2, because all the super chats are in different denominations. So I can't say top super chat because I literally don't know. I could do last super chat, but as you can see, it's already kind of crowded. We'd have to figure out what we want to do. But all right, that's our another stream. Thank you for the contribution there, Team Ico Gamer. Maybe we'll think about it. Maybe next month. Okay. All right. Getting back to the question. Much like anything, gaming can be a bad thing or a good thing. It all depends about the level and degree that you do it. It depends on how much it affects the rest of your life and in what way it affects the rest of your life. And in reality, it's all about moderation, okay? Gaming can absolutely be a time sink waste of time for certain people who just aren't doing anything productive with their lives. They're just sitting around playing video games all day, and you don't have a job, and you don't have any friends, and you don't have any family that cares about you anymore, and you don't have a significant other, and all you literally do is sit around playing video games all day and do nothing about it. Yeah, that's bad. Yes, if you're someone who has an addictive personality and you find yourself getting hooked on stuff and can't stop, playing an MMO is probably a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, it's probably in general probably going to be a bad idea. You're likely going to have a situation where you spend way too much time and can't stop yourself from keeping playing over and over and over, right? I mean, that's just kind of like common sense. But for many people, gaming is a legitimate way to sink time into something that's positive, that can make you feel good about yourself, that can make you feel like you accomplished something, that could end up being something greater than just the sum of its parts. You may think, oh, I'm just sitting here playing a video game. What does that really do? Well, it's my job. Did I ever think in my entire life, did I ever think that I would make a living being a gamer? Hell no. I never thought, even when I was a top-level competitive Street Fighter player, I never fathomed that I would make a living playing video games. It just wasn't anything that was probable or possible at that time. But that's my job now, and I've been doing this for over 10 years as my job. So that's what I mean. Like, it all depends on the life situation of a certain... What works for one person might not necessarily work for another, but there are absolutely ways that gaming could find a way to have a positive impact on your life. Perfect example here. You may be feeling like things in your real life are screwed up, and you're depressed about something that happened that you can't help. Well, maybe playing a good video game can get your mind off of it for a while and make you stop having bad thoughts, right? Or at least take your mind off of the bad things. Not to say that you're trying to avoid facing them, but in general, gaming can be a way to escape from things that are bad. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's all about moderation and making sure that you're doing something to a degree that it doesn't hurt other things that are important or essential, right? If you're depressed and you just sit there and play video games for 2 weeks straight and don't move, that's a bad idea. You see? So, but no, I totally agree with you, Davey Gameray. Video games can absolutely, they could be a way to release. You're at a stressful day of school or work, right? You come home, man, I just want to unwind. Turn on a video game, play it for a couple hours, and now I feel good. Now I feel like I got that stress out of me, right? It could be a really positive asset in that regard, so. Okay. The next question is from Yak Almighty. So if you had the power, which game series would you bring back from the dead? I would bring back 2 game series from the dead. The first would be Infamous, because I really liked Infamous 1 and 2. Admittedly, Infamous 3, I feel, was a misstep. They brought the series to the PlayStation 4 console. They tried to utilize the power of the console. The visuals were good, but the gameplay suffered. I felt the gameplay of Infamous Second Son wasn't great, and the story was very lackluster. I actually felt that the first 2 games in the series were absolutely outstanding, and I'm actually kind of sad we never really got any more of Cole McGrath, okay? I would love to see a new iteration of the Infamous series with new gameplay mechanics and new things in it. I would. Another series that I would absolutely love to come back, Dead Space. Because we never even got an ending. We never got a resolution to Dead Space. What we got was a cliffhanger ending at Dead Space 3 and no actual resolution to anything. And then they decided to break the studio up. So there's no way that we're going to get another Dead Space right now unless something happens outside of the realm of, you know, the abilities of that publisher or whoever owns the rights to it or whatever. Dead Space 1 and 2 were amazingly good games. They were masterpieces, really. They were epic. They had great, scary gameplay, atmosphere. Everything was great. Dead Space 3 was a misstep because when they made the game co-op, they made it less scary. Admittedly, there were good scares in the game. What I really liked about Dead Space 3 is that when 2 people were playing it, you saw 2 completely different perspectives. Like, I was playing a co-op, and my friend John Rambo was seeing different things in the game than what I was, because one character was being affected in his mind and the other wasn't. That was pretty damn neat. I liked that about the game. But it took away the scare factor of the game in a lot of ways, and it became more about cooperative shooting than it was about survival. And the other thing was, you already kind of knew the plot of the game by Dead Space 3. Like, there really weren't that many surprises or twists to the game. You knew there were aliens. You knew they were trying to convert the humans to basically kind of be their feed or their fuel or whatever it might be. And I honestly feel like because it was dictated to them to take the franchise in a different direction, because at that point, remember, when Dead Space 3 came out, a lot of co-op games were becoming very popular. So they said, we got to have our game be co-op, man. And I feel when they did that, it killed the franchise. It didn't sell as well as the previous 2 games, and sadly, that was the end. I would love to see a revival of Dead Space, whether it's a reboot or whether it's actually the series continuing on from the end of 3 in some way. I would love that. So, all right. My name is Zway asks the following. When it comes to classic survival horror games, what are some of your favorites that you've played in your video game career that stand out as some of the best? What do you think game developers should do to bring a resurgence to the type of game genre, and if you master one, which game? In the Resident Evil series, Resident Evil 2, I feel, is the best one, the original. In the Silent Hill series, it's debatable, because I would argue the plot of 2 is the creepiest, but I actually thought the gameplay of 3 was pretty good, like better and improved, but I thought that the plot of 2 was better. So it's hard to say, like, overall, you know, what's the best or stuff like that. That whole era of PS1, PS2 survival horror games with the fixed camera angles, limited resources that made you feel like you could run out at any time and now you can't survive. Those were the best survival horror games, I feel, that I've played. Of course, they remade Resident Evil 2 as a modern game, and I felt that was ridiculously good. I was like, dude, I wish every modern survival horror game would be like the Resident Evil 2 remake was. So, the other question was, if I were to remaster a game, which one would it be? It's got to be the original Silent Hill trilogy. Remake the original Silent Hill trilogy with modernized graphics, modernized controls, much like they did with Resident Evil. Do that for Silent Hill, they would sell a ridiculous amount of copies. But the problem is Konami owns the rights, and they're idiots. Like, they don't even know what they're doing anymore. They're barely making any games, and the games they're making are terrible. They're fucking pumping out pachinko machines. They're sitting on all these amazing game licenses and doing nothing with them. Okay. I think my chat froze again. No, there it goes. Okay. Baldy. What's going on, sir? He asks, well, he says the following. 2020 was a great year for your content, in part, thanks to the huge success of The Vest. I agree with you. 2021's been pretty rocky so far with the partnership issues and then finding new footing on YouTube. How do you deal with all these random things that have happened to you over your career? You just push forward positively, right? That's just what you do. You can't let a setback completely derail what you do. You can't let a setback stop you from enjoying your life. and having fun with what you do. I am lucky enough to do something that I absolutely love for a living. This live streaming gig is the best job I've ever had, and I want to do it for as long as I possibly can because I absolutely love it. All right? I have a passion for it. Not only gaming in general, but being able to have these interactive experiences with you on the internet. That's a core of who I've become as a person at this point. All right? And to let a setback stop me would basically be the antithesis of who I am at this point. How many times have things happened to me over the years, a change to YouTube, the way something monetized, getting something negatively happen with copyright bullshit or this or that, trolling nonsense, and so many things over the years have hit me in a negative way. And if I had let any of those hold me back from trying to persevere, I you know what I mean? There are so many times where I could have just said, forget it, I've had enough. It's too stressful, it's too much, but I push forward. As I've told you guys many times over the years, the reason that I was known as the King of Hate was not because I was a hateful person. It was because so many people told me in a hateful manner, you can't succeed, you're not good enough, you'll never do this, you'll never do that, you'll never do that. And I use that as a motivating factor to keep going. Every day that I am here on this stream and I'm entertaining an audience, and I am able to maintain a business presence that works because what I do has value to you, is a day that I lift my middle finger to all the motherfuckers who are trying to bring me down and say, haha, another day that I'm still here and you just didn't do anything with your life. And that's the mentality that I have, is that I use that to motivate me to keep going. Yes, it sucks that the partnership's gone on Twitch. Yes, it sucks that I had to move from Twitch to YouTube, but we push on, man. We don't let that shit bother us. We just keep going, all right? And that's the attitude I gotta have. It's the only way to live my life at this point. Bradley8867 asks, who's my favorite human character from the Mass Effect trilogy? You know, it's honestly, it's an interesting question because when you think about the entire trilogy and all the human characters that are in it, in the original game, you've got Kaidan, Ashley, who are the two major human characters. Everyone else is pretty much, an alien or whatever. In the second game, you got a more diverse cast. Jacob, Miranda, Jack, right? What's his name? Saeed. I almost forgot about him. And also Kasumi. 3, you got another different... So when you think about all of them, they're all interesting characters, but I actually feel that the most interesting party members in the Mass Effect series are the aliens. I think Garrus is really cool. Any Krogan, having their war heritage or whatever is really cool. Mortis, the fast-talking scientist. Those are, the more interesting characters to me. The humans are kind of like, nah, I don't really care that much. So if you're going to ask me who's actually my favorite human, outside of Shepard, of course, in the series, I'm actually going to say Joker. Joker is cool because he really feels like a part of your team and a party member, even though he's not. He never joins you in combat, but if you talk to him over the course of this trilogy, you get all these fun conversations, you learn about him, he's friendly with you, it's camaraderie. I like that they had a character that was well written enough that he doesn't have to be in your party to do combat, but he still feels like a part of the team, and he's pretty good for comic relief as well. So I'm going to go with Joker. There you go. Technical 2070 asks, where do you see yourself in 2050? Do you think that you'll still be streaming? Well, it's 2021 now, so you're saying in 29 more years, I will be 97 years old. Will I still be streaming? Okay, I won't be 97. How old would I be? In 29, so I would be 68 years old? Oh my God. First of all, I'd be shocked if I'm alive at 68. I'm serious about that too. I don't know. Not to say that I live a horrible lifestyle of wolfing giant fried fatty foods down my throat, because I don't do that anymore. But the job I have, and the fact that it's sedentary, and the fact that there is many different diseases that sadly are hereditary to my family. Multiple ones of my family members have died of cancer, which sucks, but they did. And I already have some issues, the whole gout issue that I have is something that was hereditary and passed on to me, and makes me feel like some other things will actually be issues for me. I don't know, man. Being honest, will I live that long? I don't know. Plus, let's take a look at the amount of stress in my life and everything. You're talking potential for heart disease, heart attacks and stuff. Stress is a big thing. People don't realize it. But stress can actually be one of the biggest debilitating things to a human's health. Amount of stress in someone's life. And the fact that every time that I seem to be getting ahead, something happens that completely fucks me over and stresses me out. Again, it happened, right? I told you guys literally a month ago. I said, guess what, everyone? Actually, it was a little more than a month ago now. I said, guess what, everyone? If things keep going the way they're going, this is going to be one of the best years ever for me, because I'll actually be able to pay all of my monthly federal tax payments on time. I'll be making enough money to pay all of my other bills. Everything is going swimmingly as long as things don't go poorly with my streaming it or whatever. And I will actually be finally on the road to financial recovery. And then within days of saying that, Twitch kicks me out of their partnership program. Right? It's like, again. So, of course, this last month has been incredibly stressful for myself and my family. My wife in particular as well, wondering what's going to happen. Every day she's like, how are things going? Are they going good? I'm like, yeah, things actually have been really good. My fans are so supportive that I'm making it through this tough time. And now I'm on YouTube. It's a transition, but people are starting to support me on YouTube. And things are starting to pan out in a way that normally looked like, didn't know if it would. It was uncertain, but it's looking positive, okay? So, all that being said, in 2050, who knows if I'll be alive? What I will say is this. Is it probable that I will be able to stream as a job for the rest of my life? Probably not. I'm not stupid. I would argue at some point in my life, it's going to come to the point where I won't be able to be a full-time live streamer anymore. It's just not going to be viable for whatever reason. All right? I don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be 10 years from now. It could be in 2050. All right? I don't know when it's going to be. We don't know. This is such a volatile market that I'm doing stuff in that there's no way to tell any of that stuff, right? So, that being said, I don't know, all right? I would, at the very least, as long as there are still people out there in this world who value my streams, who feel that there is purpose behind it, they get something positive out of it, I wouldn't want to stop live streaming. So even if in the future I only play a tenth as much of games as I play right now, if in the future I don't even game anymore because I'm getting too old to game, and instead I'm sitting here and I'm talking with you guys and having fun social streams and stuff like that, I would still like to do that. You know, my content very well over time may change, but I would still like to do that and have that interaction and have that with you guys for as long as I possibly can, because I love it. I love this job. I love the relationship that we have here on the streams. And again, so many people tell me that what I do has value to them personally, that they wouldn't want me to ever stop, that I don't want to, you see? Now, I'm not saying that it's viable. It may not be viable to do it for a long time, but I'm going to damn well try to do it as long as I can, all right? Fair enough. I might have to phase in other things. I may have to phase in, instead of just gaming all week, twice a week we do streams that aren't gaming. We just talk. We talk about other issues. We talk about world news. We talk about politics. We talk about different things. And those topics then get fleshed out in different ways, right? Ways that we don't usually do on my gameplay streams. Because there's certain things like religion and politics, I don't feel they have a place in my content right now. Maybe as I get older, maybe they will. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But for now, I really like doing what I'm doing, and I wouldn't want it to change. In 2050, who knows what will be viable or if I'll even still be here, right? Okay, Derek. What's going on, Derek? He asked me the following. What were your favorite childhood movies in the 80s and 90s, and what were your favorite TV shows growing up? Without going into hundreds and hundreds of examples, my top movies when I was a kid, in the 80s, my top movie overall was Ghostbusters, and in the 90s, my top movie overall was The Lion King. Those are the movies that I watched over and over, absolutely adored, and were a quintessential, important, not quintessential, but an important part of my childhood. When I think of things from my childhood, I think of those movies. Television shows, it all depended on my age and my interests changing. When I was very young, I watched He-Man, then it became Transformers and G.I. Joe, then it became things such as Ninja Turtles, X-Men, then it became like watching the WB afternoon, there's Disney afternoon shows I used to watch, but then it became more superhero stuff like Batman, Superman, stuff like that. Those were the shows, like kids shows, that I watched. But I also used to watch sitcoms and stuff with my parents, TGIF. So you're talking Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, Perfect Strangers, those kind of shows I used to watch with my parents. And then in the 90s, it became more like Seinfeld, Friends, and stuff like that. So, in a nutshell, that's the kind of stuff that I used to watch back in the 80s and 90s. Of course, there's much, much more than that, but I'm just trying to basically abridge it for the purposes of this show, so I'm not talking for 45 minutes about that. Okay? All right. Enigma X Prince, the final question of this episode of Ask the King goes to Enigma X Prince. So congratulations to you. Here's the question. Get ready. Hi, Phil. I'm currently starting up a YouTube channel, and I've been consistent with posting video content and such, but I don't really have an audience, so the views are very small, which is sometimes pretty discouraging. I know social media is the main source in gaining an audience, but it seems like in today's age, you have to do crazy outlandish things or try to start drama on the internet to gain some kind of attention. My question is, what exactly is your advice on how to gain an audience for an upcoming YouTuber in today's age? Thanks in advance. I swear, I keep getting this question recently. Now, I haven't done Ask the King in months, but I keep getting this question on my streams. So I honestly feel like it's worth it for me to answer it here live on the stream so that it's kind of archived in a recent video or whatever. So if people want to reference it for, future use or whatever, they can do so. All right. Today, 2021 is a very, very, very different place from when I started with content creation back in 2008. As I've already said on this very show, the whole attitude of people on the internet towards content in general is different. Back then, it was like, wow, I'm being provided with free and entertaining content. This is cool. Let's like it. Let's talk about it and have fun discussion. Let's laugh at it, etc. Today, it's kind of like, holy crap, man, like everyone's toxic about everything. Oh, it's no good. It's crap. It's this, it's that. I think that comes with oversaturation of the market when so many people tried to jump on the content creation bandwagon over the last decade. People were able to discern between different kinds of content and are a lot more picky when it comes to what they want to watch. And in reality, as we've already talked about again on this very show, people on the internet have become a lot more toxic over the last decade because they've realized they can get away with it. It's not like it was back in the day. Now it's, I could literally just create troll accounts constantly and waste people's time. Not that normal people would do that, but sadly there are people out there with no lives and this is what they do with them. So, today it's very different. Back in the day, when I was uploading videos to YouTube, I don't even know how my videos got seen. I'm being honest with you. I don't know what it was that got my videos to first get seen on YouTube. It very well might have been that I was a person who was playing video games and doing playthroughs, and I was one of the few doing it. Maybe when I played Fable 2, I was one of maybe like 10 people posting playthroughs of it up on YouTube and doing live commentary over it. So when I uploaded Fable 2 playthrough, I was one of the few people who would show up in search results. When I went to Twitch in 2013, I already had a big established following on YouTube. So going from already having an established following to Twitch, I didn't have to do any extra work to get discovered on Twitch and get a following. It was just bringing my YouTube viewership along with me. And in reality, the Twitch streaming was always just a fan service thing at that time. It wasn't like I was focused on getting discovered on Twitch and getting a whole new audience for my content. It was quite the opposite. I only really cared about the core viewer who was watching my stuff on demand on YouTube at the time. So I couldn't really help you in regards to any advice to, number one, get noticed on YouTube, because I was doing something at a different time period that just doesn't exist anymore. Today, everyone's done everything possible on YouTube, right? How do you get exposure as a new content creator? I don't know. As for streaming, same thing. I brought my viewership over. I didn't have to get discovered on Twitch, so I couldn't give you advice there either, quite frankly. What I can tell you is this. This is what I tell everyone now when they ask me about getting started as a new content creator and the attitude to have and things like that, all right? The way that I would approach content creation is as follows. Make content that you have a passion for and that you're going to have fun creating, all right? What I mean by that is if you like a certain game series and you're trying to get into doing Let's Plays on YouTube, play that game series that you know you like and you're going to enjoy playing and making the videos of. If you have a passion for music or a passion for cooking, make those videos, okay? That passion that you have for what you're doing hopefully will come through in that content that you create. Whether it's the knowledge of what you're doing, the fact that you're so happy and enjoying when you're doing it. You see what I mean? Hopefully that positivity and that enjoyment will come through in your content. And hopefully, some people who see that content will catch it, like it, and say, oh, not only do I like that content, but maybe word of mouth, I'll tell some other people about this person who's really enjoying what they're doing. And, you know, you'll get more attention via that word of mouth. The way that I think this is, the reason I think this is the best mentality to have is as follows. If you go into content creation with the mentality that you're just going to do it for, I want to do this for a living. I want to make videos and streams for a living. So I'm going into this with the mentality that that's what I want to do. So I'm putting everything in. I'm investing money and time and everything into it, right? If that's the mentality you go into it with, and you treat it more like a business endeavor or a job that is something that you have passion for, I wouldn't be shocked if people don't enjoy it. You see what I'm saying? The reason that I feel that I got popular was because I was playing games, having fun with them, being completely irreverent when I did. And I was just doing silly, quite frankly, unprofessional level commentary on what I was doing. People found that absolutely hilarious. They said, Phil, when you play games, I feel like I'm sitting next to a friend on the couch who's joking around while playing games and just having a general good time. That's why I like your content. And that's how I actually got my popularity back on YouTube back in the day. If I had sat there and I was like, I'm doing professional level playthroughs, and it's going to be super ultra professional with all kinds of edited content, high level knowledge of everything I'm doing. Imagine if, when at the height of its popularity, Street Fighter 4 came out, and I said, well, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put out tutorial videos on Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo because that's what I'm good at. So that's what the content I'm going to put on the internet. Wouldn't have got anywhere. You know, maybe I would have got a few thousand views here or there, but it was me messing around with silly Street Fighter 4, having fun, genuinely showing people my passion for fighting games. That's what came through in my content, and that's why a lot of people latched onto me at a very early time in my career. Okay? So, number one, having that passion, I feel, can come through and make people see that you're doing it not because you're trying to make a living and not because you're just trying to make money on this stream or this video, but because you actually love it, right? But in addition to that, here's the thing that I feel that this is the most beneficial about approaching it with that attitude. If you approach content creation with that attitude, it doesn't matter if you have 1 viewer, 100 viewers, or 20,000 viewers. It doesn't matter if you make money doing it or not. If you're having fun doing what you're doing when you're making content, you've already won because you didn't waste your time. You see what I'm saying? Even if no one watches it, you already had a good time. So who cares, right? That's kind of the mentality that I have. If I'm sitting here and I'm having a good time and you guys are having a good time, who cares about the end result of anything else? We at least got something out of it. So if you're playing things you have a passion for, a game that you really love, or you're cooking a recipe you really like and you want to share that with an audience and you can show that passion, you have a good time doing it, who cares how many people watch it or how successful it is, right? Listen, I will never be popular in a way that I used to be on YouTube. I used to get, on every video I put out on YouTube, between 10,000 to 100,000 views on each video I put out. Every day on YouTube, I was bringing in insane amount of views. In a month, 1 month, I brought in over 10 million views on YouTube. To give you perspective, that's like more than the popular vloggers like Boogie and shit. That's more than they were bringing in. I was actually more popular than those kind of people back in the day on YouTube. Okay? I will never get that back. I no longer have the ability, if there's a serious issue that I feel I need to talk about. Sadly, I don't feel like I'm anyone who cares about hearing my opinion anymore. There was a time when I had this soapbox, okay, that when I had something to say, remember SOPA and PIPA and S.978 and those bills that were threatening the internet, and when I talked about those things, my videos got hundreds of thousands of views and were shared all over the internet and was used as a way of, oh, here's someone who's informed on the topic who's trying to alert us to it so that we can all spread the word about it, right? I was contacted by a company who's writing a book about SOPA and PIPA who wanted me to be in the book because they said that my video was one of the most influential on the internet about it. Okay? I know I'll never get that back. I know that. It sucks. I'm sad about it, of course. I'm disappointed and I'm sad that I had this height of popularity, and because of stagnation, because of the fact that I didn't change fast enough, because of mistakes that I made over the years, and yes, because of troll shitheads who created a virally popular meme that I'm a terrible person on the internet to make it impossible, not impossible, impossible for people out there to actually like me legitimately as a newcomer, a new viewer. I get very few new viewers jumping on my content these days because of that slander and defamation against me all over the internet. Because of all those factors, I will never get back to the popularity that I ever had back then. You know, never. But I still love what I do. I still love this job. I love these streams. I love the interactions we have. I love answering your questions. I love gaming. I love doing the things that I do on a daily basis here. And because of that, I don't let the fact that things aren't as popular as they used to be or whatever get to me. I could sit here and I could dwell on it constantly, and I could have tons of sour grapes and be so upset that other people have things that I feel that they don't deserve, the popularity, the money, whatever you want to say it is, right? I could sit here and I could say till I'm blue in the face, this sucks, man, I should be bigger and better than what I am. But what's the point of that? The only thing that really matters is that what I do every day I feel has meaning and I enjoy doing it. And I do. So if you, as a content creator, are enjoying what you're doing, who gives a shit if it's one person who watches or 1 million? Who cares if someone comes out and says, oh, your stuff is crap? If you enjoy doing it, it doesn't matter anymore because you already had a productive use of your time. And I think that's what a lot of people miss when they become content creators. I'm going into this with the mentality that I'm doing it for a job. So I'm going to go be a tryhard, and I'm going to try to do a no-hit run in Dark Souls, or I'm going to try to play a professional level fighting game right from the get-go. And then they get into this grind mentality, and they don't take off, and they don't become popular, and then they're like depressed and sad or upset or angry, and they have these feelings of resentment because they feel like they worked their butt off and got nothing for it. But they didn't go into it with a mentality that they were going to enjoy what they were doing. So, of course, if they failed, then it feels like a wasted time. If you're enjoying what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you succeed or fail. You already got value out of it. And hopefully, if you're enjoying what you're doing, that passion will come through and other people will latch onto it as well. That's the best advice I can give you. All right, Baby Vaso has tipped me $2 and says, do you think it's okay for developers to lock content behind difficulty settings like back in the day, like only being able to get X character or see the true ending when playing on hard? I certainly feel that from an accessibility perspective, that could be incredibly annoying. Back in the day, the reason that a lot of game developers did that was because they had limitations on what they could fit in a game. So, I can't really fit enough content into my game to make it last 20, 30 hours. So it's a 10-hour game. Make the person beat it twice to see the true ending. Right? We're doing that right now with Returnal. Returnal is forcing me to go through the entire 6 biomes again, get these hidden sun keys to get the true ending of the game. So ultimately, it's in the eye of the gamer to judge, because if you really like the gameplay loop of the game and then you play it again and you're having a great time, right? Then maybe it's perfectly valid. There may be people who are like, man, that shit was a grind to begin with. Now you're making me play it again. This is fucking bullshit. Why is it hidden behind some wall, right? So it really is subjective. For me, it would depend on the game. Like, for example, right now, I have no idea how I'm going to feel about Returnal when I play it again on Saturday. I may say, whoa, I got all these abilities now. I can walk in water. I can walk in hazards. I can do all the stuff I couldn't do the first run through. This is really cool. I'm happy I'm playing it one final time. Or it could be, I already beat all this once. This is fucking stupid bullshit. Why am I doing it again? I guess we'll see. The last tip of the stream is from Local Nomad, who tipped me $5. Said, I recently finished your Undertale playthrough. I found it way more personal and intimate experience than watching any live stream. I enjoy your current style of content, but I'm wondering if you were the viewer, which would you prefer? I don't know. You want to know why? Because I don't watch any content on the internet. And I mean that. Like, every once in a while, my wife and I maybe will watch someone play something that I've already played to see a cool, different perspective. Like, for example, we in the past couple of years, we watched a couple different content creators play games like Dark Souls or horror games. Like, we actually watched back one or two people play Little Hope because we were interested to see how other people's choices would affect what happened in the game and stuff like that. But in general, I don't know, as a viewer, if watching the content be offline and someone's hyper-focused on the game or being interactive with a stream audience, I don't know which I would like better. I don't watch enough content to really even judge it, being honest. I guess I would have to see. Like, I would agree that sometimes having a live interactive audience can be very intrusive, right? Instead of me just focusing on the game and making progress, I'm shouting out contributions for 25 minutes, right? True. It definitely could happen, and it could annoy some people. At the very same time, having an interactive element to certain games and streams could actually make it significantly better. So maybe it's a question of the type of game. Maybe it's a question of the personal preference of the viewer. And honestly, Local Nomad, I don't feel like I've watched enough content of other content creators to really answer the question in an educated fashion. I'm sorry, because I know you tipped me to ask me the question, but I'm not going to shoot out a bull. All right. Man, I wish I could go back to the way it was back in the day. Man. No, it's not true. The thing is, as I just answered Enigma X Prince's question, right? It comes down to a factor of what's more enjoyable. I feel I'm having way more fun with my current style of content than I did back when I was just doing YouTube videos. Not to say that some of those years that I was making those on-demand YouTube videos offline, off-stream, wasn't fun. It absolutely was. But I got bored of it. Admittedly, I got really bored of it, to the point where, like I said, in 2016, I had to change something. That's when I started doing my edited style content over on KO Gaming. I couldn't keep doing what I was doing all day, every day. I was bored to tears and not liking it anymore. I needed to change in some fashion. I now know that doing these interactive streams adds an element to the content that I absolutely enjoy, way more than what I ever did before I was an interactive streamer. But does that come through to the viewer? So for some, I would say probably, and some maybe not. You could genuinely see, like when I was playing Resident Evil Village, I loved that game. I was having so much fun with it, and I hope that came through in the streams. You see? Previously, playing the games offline, I don't know if it came through or not. You know? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. And I apologize to anyone who maybe had questions in the stream chat, but we're out of time completely. I actually filled the 3 hours. I didn't think I would, but I actually did. So I guess that's going to be it for Ask the King episode 86. Now, the next episode is tentatively scheduled for late July, okay? I hope you guys will join me for then. I would say, if you guys liked this episode, let me know. If you feel that Ask the King is worthwhile and meaningful to continue, let me know. All right? But maybe not, because like I said, my feeling is that maybe this show may be coming outdated. I don't know. All right? I don't know. Phantom Ryu just did a super chat. He says, Phil, I don't really get to watch you on stream very often, but I want to say hi and good luck with the new format. Thank you, Phantom Ryu. I really appreciate that, because it is very different here on YouTube. It absolutely, definitely is. And I'm doing my best to adapt. I hope people are at least not too deterred from checking out the stuff. But, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Like I said, next episode, late July. Please, by all means, please post up. That's weird that it takes so long for that to pop up. Please, by all means, post up your questions. The forums, the new thread, I'll be posting up the new thread immediately. Like, I'm going to upload these videos and immediately post up the new forum thread where you can post up your questions for the next show in July. The more questions I get, the better the show is. I can't emphasize that enough, that I need to have more questions and as many questions as possible, because it's getting tough to pick out good questions at this point, okay? All right, guys? All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you for those who supported the stream today. What I'll have to do is I'll have to update that total members, because I know we got a bunch of new members today on the stream. So I'll have that updated for tonight's late stream, and we'll go from there, all right? Thank you guys very much for a great Ask the King. Until next time, this is DSP signing off. Peace out, everybody. Later.